Hello and welcome to the latest episode of your individual wedding podcast. You're here with me, Heidi of Glorious by Heidi, and Ross of Ross Wiltshire Photography. Ross, I'm going to have to ask you to change the name of your company. Every time I say Ross
Wiltshire.
I go for Ross Wiltshire Photography. So I'm here with Ross.
You don't have to type it out all the time. Typing that website address is enough.
I need to behave. I need to behave myself. We're also joined today by a fantastic guest, Juliette of Juliette by the Sea. Juliette is a celebrant and is also only weeks away from her own wedding. Hooray! Oh, sorry, she's looking nervous. You can't see her, but she's looking nervous. So as you know, we like to talk to guests on the podcast whose wedding planning experiences might resonate with you if your wedding falls outside what many might describe as not a traditional or a mainstream wedding. So today, we're hoping that Juliette will share her experience of planning a wedding as a mature bride. Welcome, Juliette. Can I start by asking you to explain for those who don't know what a celebrant is?
Right, I'm a wedding celebrant, and what I do is we write your wedding ceremony. So we write and officiate. It's a difficult word, officiate. It makes it sound, I don't know, more official than it actually is. We are the people who stand with you as you talk about your love story, your vows. We make it personal. There's no one size fits all wedding. You're not going to be in and out, quick words. It is just all about you, your love story, and why you're getting married.
Lovely.
Nutshell.
Lovely. And yeah, so I think it's important that people know sort of who you are, because obviously you're planning your own wedding. So we thought it'd be interesting for you to tell us, as a celebrant, what do you think is the most important moment of somebody's wedding day?
Well, it's got to be the ceremony. I mean, it really has got to be. Otherwise, what you're doing is you're having a party, which is lovely. God, I love to party. We all love to party. But the ceremony is the part where you are standing up or sitting down. A lot of my couples like to sit down. And you're saying to people, this is why we're getting married. This is why we're in love. This is what brought us to this place. This is what we want to do in our future. And all you people, whether it's, six, that's so bad grammar. Oh God, that's bad grammar. Everyone there, you're there for a reason, to help celebrate that union of the two people. And it is amazing. It's wonderful.
Yeah.
As a celebrant and with your ceremonies, we have a choice to make it personal. It's not just an in and out 10 minutes, say these words. You can actually completely, with your celebrant, create what you want to create. And I think the ceremony is important. I think the ceremony is very important. Without it, it's a party. A good party, but it's a party.
That's so true. So true. So we mentioned that you're planning your wedding. Can we rewind a little bit and talk to you about how you met your lovely partner?
I met my lovely partner, Mark, online. I met him online. Yeah. I met him on the now no longer Guardian Soulmates. About 8 years ago, I'd moved out of London down to the West Country. Mark was actually living in Bristol. And, it's quite difficult when you do get, I think it's difficult for everyone, but I'll start the age thing going here. I'm not hanging around school gates. I'm not working in an office. I definitely aren't going to the bars in Soho I used to go to, which incidentally isn't the right place to find husbands.
No, I was going to say that's probably where you were going wrong.
Yeah, I definitely went wrong with the first time. And it is hard. It's very hard. And it was my little sister, who's 21 years younger than me, who said, well, why don't you go online? I was like, I can't do that. And she was, well, everyone's doing it. I thought, God, if you're doing it in your 30s, then I really should give it a go.
Yeah.
So that's how we met. Yeah. Mark always says that he'd opened up his sort of radius, he'd gone to 200 miles because he'd run out of all the women in Bristol.
What a charmer.
Yeah, I know. He got me at the first line.
I love that. Do you ever watch, have either of you ever watched the dating show, The Undateables? Where
I love that so much.
So
I love it, but it makes me cry.
Yeah, it's amazing. But there's a chap on there who they've revisited a few times now, and I think he has autism, and he makes me cry with laughter because he's got a very stringent.
Oh yes, like 5 miles or something.
Oh, I know him. Yes. Yeah.
Anybody who doesn't live in Bromwich or wherever he lives.
Yeah, 5.2 miles is a no, isn't it? It has to be within. Yeah.
And I love that. And I actually think if ever I mean, I'm a very happily married woman, but if ever I did have to get back in the dating game, I quite like that as a first question. You know, do you live within a 5-mile radius of my house? Sorry.
There is an app which does that. I've got a couple who I'm their celebrant next year, and it ticks people who are, and it's not the one we're all thinking of, it literally links you up with people who live within a few streets. And this one couple, he is now marrying a woman who was on a bus going past, and he thought, oh great, she's really local, but in fact she lived in Hertfordshire. She was just visiting her sister.
Caught out. Didn't work. I suppose always loopholes. There are always loopholes. So what was it that caught your eye, or on that first date, was there an inkling that this man was the one?
Yep, definitely for me. Definitely. Yeah, definitely for me. We had a lot of sliding doors moments as we were talking online. He actually lived way back in a flat above where my aunt was working, and we'd sort of skirted each other in southeast London for years. So there was like a common ground, and we just, for me, instantly he made me laugh. I felt at home. I felt comfortable. It was just great. We were just clicked straight away. And distance helped as well, because neither of us were prepared to jump straight in with moving. Although I was getting a little bit excited. I was like, oh, Bristol, nice. Oh, back to a city. This is nice. And he was thinking, oh, I'm about to retire. Oh, lovely seaside life. So we got on very, very, very quickly. And it was my 50th birthday that summer. We met in January. And by then we both kind of knew it was going to happen. But it was about another 3 years, I think, before we actually moved in together. We did a lot of up and down the M5.
Yeah.
Okay.
Joyous. So we absolutely love a proposal story, as you know. So could you share with us your proposal story?
Okay, I wasn't expecting it in the slightest. We were living together, as everyone does. And Mark's been married twice before, and was just not going there again. And he's older. He's actually 10 years older than me. So I just thought, no, it's not going to happen. I would love to get married. I thought it's not going to happen. And it was Christmas Eve last year, and we were just sitting with the dog and the cat, a few sherries, and he said, "You're right. I think we should get married." And it was just that simple. It's not one of the great love story, proposals of the time. We did big it up the next day because we went to the beach. We were only a 5-minute walk from the beach, and we took champagne and we got dressed up. And I think, there's lots of pictures of, kind of festival hats and us drinking, and lots of people in the background trying to zoom their families looking cross. But so it was kind of like a Christmas proposal. Yeah, it was. And I was totally blown away. I had absolutely no idea. I didn't tell anyone for quite a while because I thought he was pissed. This isn't really happening, You
double check the next day. Do you remember?
And the next day, and the next day, and the next day. And then I thought I'd start milking it a bit. So I thought people going, oh, that's lovely, let's drink champagne. So yeah.
Excellent.
Oh, fantastic. But you have said that, during wedding planning, you have met with some challenges.
Yes.
And they're sort of quite specific to getting married at your time of life. Is that?
Yep. Yeah, okay, absolutely happy. That's how we started when I spoke. Well, Heidi messaged me. Yeah, I'm 56, happily say that. Mark's 66, and when, you know, it just almost straight away, there is nothing to base the wedding on. There's no reference points. If you think about it, if you look at any bridal, and I belong to them all because of what I do for a living, there is no reference, or hardly any, I'd say it's 0.00% to older couples. And if there is, and I can't even say I've seen, there's been one photo somebody shared on Instagram recently, and they are very stylized shots. But apart from that, there is nothing. And that goes right the way across the industry as well. You know, from finding a venue and asking if we're looking for our children to the whole outfit of what I'm going to wear. It is easier for men, I think. But if you start looking, and I can understand it's an economic, you know, it's part of, you know, your business plan. You're not going to necessarily look for the sort of outfits a woman would want to wear who's older. But there's a lot of us out there. Yeah. And, you know, it just do not exist. It's all that very, I'll say American, with no disrespect to anyone who's American, that very sort of, again, I say mother of the bride, that long navy or burgundy dresses. Yeah. And or frocks with a certain, and I love vintage clothes, with a certain, you know, you need to look like a bombshell or something. You need to be all sort of saucy like a 50s singer. There's nothing in between. And once the wedding industry's got onto a trend theme, and, you know, it's all the boho bride look, how the hell does that relate to anyone over 25 who's not 6 stone anyhow? So it's coming to ageism and size. And that's pretty much across the board. That's from everything. It's like, who are the flowers for? Well, actually, for me, do I feel a bit silly having flowers? Because flowers and the symbolism as of youth, fertility, growth, and everything. And here I am. And it does become very difficult. And we've had it. You know, I've had it. Am I looking, you know, what am I looking for? And it's hard. Yeah. I don't blame the industry, but I think the people who influence the industry, which to a certain extent is myself, you, Heidi, Ross, maybe we could look a bit at, because it's the shoots, isn't it? I'm on a roll now. It's the styled shoots we all use for marketing. And you know, it's impossible to get any couples who aren't, you know, what one would see as atypical.
Yeah, you're right.
No, I would have to, and I would feel very uncomfortable. I would have to send a marketing post out somehow, and to all these things saying, does anyone want to do a shoot with someone who's disabled? Or does anyone want to do a shoot with a couple in their 70s or LGBTQ plus couple? And then you have people saying, I'll do that, but I'm not actually, because I've had that as well. And then, you know, it's like, no, I actually want real couples.
Yes.
So there's no reference point. And I think wedding professionals like all of us, when we're not helping, because obviously it's economics as well, and I don't know what the answer is. So maybe someone will write to you and tell you what the answer is.
I think awareness is very much the answer. The awareness of the issue, and obviously I come at it from a slightly different angle, but having a child who was born with a very visible disability, who has Down syndrome, I realised when she was really young that she doesn't have any reference points in the media either. You know, teenage girls have lots of images of pop stars and models and influencers.
Absolutely.
And that none of them have a visible disability, and certainly none of them have Down syndrome. And I can remember breaking my heart when she was only about 13 or 14, because she'd seen a person with Down syndrome in a lottery advert, and she jumped off the sofa and said, "Somebody like me!"
Oh
and
no!
We had to rewind. We had to rewatch this bloody lottery ad about 20 times because she'd seen somebody that looked like her. Yeah. And I just thought, wow, what must life be like? Going through life, never, ever, ever seeing yourself represented.
Absolutely awful. I mean, you know, it's so sad. And it is, oh gosh, it's such a big question here, isn't there? Such a big, I don't know, campaign's the wrong word, but we need to be more aware of it. I honestly, And I feel really humbled talking to you now, because basically at the end of the day, I'm just middle-aged. I don't have a disability. I don't suffer from any form of racism or bias for anything apart from the fact I happen to be getting on. So I don't have those, I don't have so many really nasty attacks. It's uncomfortable for me. That's what it is.
It's like we say, it's about being seen, and as you're planning your wedding, you don't feel seen.
Oh no, I don't, Ross. I absolutely don't. And I have a lot of good-tempered, good-natured, but was not really good-natured sort of criticisms. So why are you doing it like this? Because you've both been married before. Do you really want the big party? And it's like, well, yeah, actually, we actually kind of like to party. That's one of the things we bonded on quite. We threw pre-pandemic pretty fantastic parties. Why wouldn't we want to?
Yeah.
But we had that from the venue. We had that. People are surprised that we're getting a cake. Why wouldn't we want a cake? Old people eat cakes.
Yeah. I've had that from getting married later in life, and they say to me that they're not doing certain things, and when you dig a bit deeper, it's not that they don't want to, it's because, like you say, someone's told them, or they've been made to feel that they shouldn't, it is our second wedding, so we're not doing that, or we're not having the bells and whistles. And when you do it down, actually they want all the bells and whistles, and they want everything, and they want the big party, like you say, and the cake and everything else, and then it's sort of building them back up to feel excited, because all the people we speak to on this podcast that are planning a wedding that's a little bit different, they've all been made to feel a bit deflated, I think. Common feeling. Yeah,
Ross, you're so spot on. I sat and cried yesterday with my friend, because I am actually feeling really flat about the whole thing. So I feel that a lot of the struggles and trying to get it sorted, and it also comes from the best, it's also from friends sometimes are questioning it. And that's really sad, and it's just, and we are actually happier to be getting married this time because we know this is right than either of us were previously. Back to my joke about don't marry the man you meet in Soho. It's kind of true. You make mistakes when some people do. And this is real. And it's hard. And it's hard. Oh gosh, so much of it's hard. Yeah, it is hard. I keep saying the same things. I am getting quite emotional about it, and I'm genuinely very upbeat, I'm creative. I like and know what I'm doing, but I'm floundering with this a little bit.
Yeah. And as you said at the start, the most important part of the wedding day is the celebration. And what is a celebration? A celebration is all of those things that do bring you joy as a couple. Flowers, cakes, looking great. These are the things that bring us joy. So why, when you tip over a certain age, would you not still want those things? It is very interesting. I mean, as a more mature woman myself, I'm not afraid to say that I'm 51. I find
best years.
Exactly. I find myself questioning things like going out clubbing, because I love to dance. I'm the first person up on the dance floor. I'm the last one on there. I just love to dance. It makes me feel so fulfilled and happy. But when you get to my age, where do you go to dance?
You don't.
I don't want to go to a Kaylee. That's not me at all.
No.
I want to go and lose it to a bit of Faithless, or so. Yeah. I find it really hard myself to sort of find where I now fit in.
It's a very floaty age area, especially because as people, women and men, we've grown up, we're in completely different generations from anyone else. We've lived through the 80s and the 90s. We've done a lot of things which perhaps our parents didn't, who were in the 60s and 70s. And it's the old generational thing, but we're just that little bit further ahead. We're all living longer and aging slower. So it's like society hasn't caught up with us yet. Where do you dance? I don't know. You should be having dinner parties at our age,
Salmon loose. That's where we should be at our age. Oh, Ross, sorry. bit of a dry heave there. So that's interesting that you have sort of felt marginalised during your wedding planning, because one of the questions I wanted to ask you is, with your insight into the wedding industry as a celebrant, do you think it's been easier to plan a wedding with that insight than perhaps it would have been if you didn't have that knowledge?
Yeah, it's definitely been easier, Heidi. It's definitely been easier. I mean, I think pretty much everything I've actually ended up buying or planning has come through a connection in the industry. And I've always said since I started, I wanted to keep love local. That was my little sort of strap line. And by local, I also I've taken it from just around here to sort of, within the whole country. And that has been easier because I'm more aware of what's out there. So I've found someone, and I have got an amazing designer who is doing a lovely dress, who I found through a photographer who was on my website. She did a styled shoot, and this woman rocked up and did the dress for it. And, it's sort of that sort of thing. The downside, and this is quite a silly one really, is my Instagram feed, my world is just full of all these beautiful images, and we all know how styled they are, and it's blown my mind. It's like, why can't I have a chorus of singing people doing break dancing and a flash mob, and why can't I have a whole I want banners, embroidered banners the size of the back of the stage with our names on it, because I see it all. And I've worked with a lot of these people, or definitely seen them on Instagram, and I think I want all of that because I know it's there. That's been a problem.
I even feel photographer though. I see all these style shoots or all these ways people edit and style, and that's not me. And I do have moments where I question if I'm doing the right thing or up to speed things. And it can be hard even as a supplier, I think, to stay true to who I think it's important, because when I'm doing the podcast and speaking to people like yourself, it helps me keep on track, because that's what I'm passionate about. So I'm not about the tutorial sort of looks, but I do have moments where I think perhaps I'm not as good, or perhaps that's what I should be doing. And you have to remind yourself to
pull it right back, don't you?
As somebody planning a wedding, it must be overwhelming, really.
It's completely overwhelming. Planning on a pension sort of thing as well is funny, but it's I know, because I work in the industry, funny word, but it's not real. It is. We all know it's styled. People are sending their best outfits, the most wonderful food, and all this sort of stuff. And yes, some couples have all that, but God, I've started talking to wedding couples about it, saying, calm it back down, don't worry, don't worry. And then I'm doing it myself, which is crazy, and they're younger than me, and often very nervous about the whole thing. And prioritize. That's my advice for anyone listening. Prioritize. You don't need it all. You don't need it all, and you can get a lot of it locally by beautiful people who can make things for you.
And in this digital age, I mean, I know sort of a lot of my couples come to me with Pinterest boards, and it can be very, very overwhelming, I think, when you're planning a wedding, when you have got all of that inspiration out there, to just look at the things that you think are important to you and your day. So a lot of the nice to have, you don't have to have. It's just
I think, like you said, priorities, because I remember it's the first chapter in the book I wrote that I based the podcast on, was pinpointing your priorities. And it's about doing those things before you look on social media and Pinterest. I think you have to identify who you are, which sounds really big and deep, but identify who you are and what your values are before you start looking. Otherwise, you've got no chance, really. You have to have, you can be inspired and think, I didn't think of that. That's a nice idea. Or we could go that route, or we could add that on or take that off. But I think if you don't start with a sense of who you are and what's important, you're just going to get drawn into all sorts. You're going to be overwhelmed and stressed. You spend money on things you don't. It's not about saving money, but it's about spending money on what's important
Absolutely. Yeah, that's exactly what I always say to people. And you know, and getting back to your point as well, Heidi, you know, there's not your daughter not seeing people like herself, you know, and, oh look, it's, you know, and on things like Pinterest, which are fantastic, and all these, you know, it's just not there's too much of the glorious there's too much of the
there's too much glorious. I've always said that.
There's too much of the it's all just too damn sexy on there, isn't it? You know, it's just amazing, and it can be a bit overwhelming.
Yeah, I agree.
But we all do it. I mean, to a certain, I'm thinking, oh, I've got to do more, because I need, basically at the end of the day, I need to book more weddings.
Yeah.
I hope I keep it real for my couples.
And that is why, you know, couples will choose certain suppliers, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, Ross and I have had these conversations about the kind of photography that Ross does. And, you know, he's not about the sort of airbrushing and, you know, sort of, you know, the glam. It's about taking gorgeous photos of you as you are, because that is you at the end of the day. And I mean, I got married back at a time when Pinterest didn't exist, and you know, you booked your photographer on a recommendation. You didn't really see much of their work, and so I count myself quite lucky, really, that I didn't have all of those external influences, because you know, we just did what we wanted.
Did what you wanted and what you could do as well.
Yeah. Felt we should be doing all that other people were doing.
So, it's funny talking about photography, actually, Ross. It's the one thing we have had a lot of pushback. People they think because we are older, we don't need the photographs. And that has been voiced to us. You know, why are you getting a photographer? We're only actually getting someone for 2 hours. You know, because that's money, really, at the end of the day. And, you know, how many pictures can you take of a lot of people dancing like crazy?
I love hundreds if you're me. People get loads of dance. I hate an empty dance floor, so I love them. But I get what you mean. But again, it's that assumption. And I've been at wedding fairs where I've seen more mature couples walking around, and I have booked without, that sounds really crass, but I booked a couple. They were more mature. They didn't look like every other couple at the wedding fair, but I talked to everyone, and everyone, you know, is valid to me.
Yeah. Oh, I want to go to your wedding fair.
They were one of my highest paying clients. They had everything. They had 3 copies of the album. They had all day coverage. They had a pre-wedding shoot. But a lot of photographers would not have given them the time of day, because they probably weren't their ideal client.
Yeah. Lovely. Yeah.
They probably would have looked at them and said, oh, well, and I hate the term, you know, this all sort of portfolio couple or ones for your website. I detest that, because people are people. You're not seeing who they are. And I think if people don't make a concerted effort to change that, then we're all just perpetuating the problem, aren't we? A little bit, really.
Yeah, very much so. There's so much we could do, and I'd like to see more. I'd like to see more realism in the industry, and maybe I'll try to do more based on my own experience.
I think that's it. At the end of the day, you have to be it's that phrase, you have to be the change you want to see. But I sound quite American then, because I felt
that's good.
But, you know, through doing things like the podcast, through doing styled shoots that do feature couples who fall outside of the sort of the mainstream, you know, if as wedding suppliers we're doing these things, then, you know, we are making a change. And, you know, I probably know the image that you were talking about the more mature couple, because I think it was featured on Love My Dress, one of the blogs, and it stood out because you never see couples with grey hair.
And everyone shared it.
Yeah,
it was shared. I mean, I must have seen that, and I thought, this is quite funny. So I'm talking to Heidi and Ross about being an older couple, and I never see anything. And here's this one beautiful looking couple who I've seen shared 50 times or something. They were everywhere.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure I shared it. Guilty. Guilty. I was there.
I did too, you know. Well, that's on my list for next year. I'm going to arrange something. I'm going to arrange a style shoot.
There you go.
For one of those, yeah.
Count us in.
Yeah.
Accessories. So, talking about the sort of like the challenges that you found planning your day, what are you really looking forward to about your day? What does give you that little sort of like frisson of I can't wait?
I'm looking forward to the ceremony. I am looking forward to the ceremony, and I'm looking forward to mingling with people. I'm looking forward to seeing everyone. And one of the reasons we chose Christmas was because no one had Christmas last year.
Yeah.
And I'm looking forward to dancing. I'm not really looking, but yeah, I'm looking forward to the ceremony, the dancing. I'm looking forward to seeing people. I'm really looking forward to that. Yeah. We've both got, we've got large families. Mark's got 4 boys. They're there with their girlfriends, and it's. I've got lots of. Yeah, it's going to be good. It's going to be. That's what I'm looking forward to. Being with people, celebrating, and saying, "Look, we're here. We've done it. We love each other."
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. We've got. We've put music in the ceremony. It's all our songs we like, which is what I suggest to my couples. Some of them do, some of them don't. So it's going to be fun, I hope.
Yeah, it will be. It will be. Like you say, I mean, we have been starved over the last 18 months of those opportunities. And actually, at the start of this interview, when you were talking about, the most important part, the ceremony and getting everybody together, and I was thinking that for me has been the most heartbreaking thing, I think, of the last 18 months is even those weddings that were going ahead. I had couples that were getting married, just the couple. It was just the two of them.
Yeah.
And they made an amazing thing out of it being just the two of them. But I don't know that I could have done it. Just because, like you, it is a lot about friends and family and going, woohoo, look what we did. So it will be fantastic.
Thank you. I know it will be. It's just I am no different from any other person getting married, and I'm getting nervous now.
Yeah, but that's good. That shows that you're. It's important to you, and it means a lot to you. And it'll be worth the nerves. Nerves are always a good sign, aren't they, really, rather than a bad one. Are people excited for you? You said some of your friends were questioning sort of why are you having that or doing that. Are they looking forward to the day?
I think they are now. It was for some friends and family on my side, not so much Mark's, which is strange because he's been married more than me. There was like, why are you doing this financially? Why are you, which is quite strange considering I am a wedding celebrant. I got all the jokes, marrying yourself. But yes, I think they are in a whole. Yes, they are very much looking forward to it because they can see that we're taking it seriously.
Yeah.
They can see that we're taking it seriously.
Would you have advice for other couples getting married sort of later in life?
Yeah, I would actually. I would say don't listen to anyone and don't apologise, because I've done that. I've apologised for doing it.
Yeah.
And I was saying, I contacting the people when we got our rings, saying, will be the couple coming in who are the older ones? I am making that stereotype.
Yeah.
I'm doing it to myself.
Yeah.
Just my advice to others, just do it. You don't have to do it. You don't have to wear burgundy unless you actually love burgundy. You don't. You can have a big party and. I suppose the advice of the world, but be prepared. It might not be easy. That's not the positive advice you want, is it? Just go for it. Just go for it. Yeah. And be open. And if you want to wear a crown, I'm rocking the whole Cecil Beaton in the 30s thing at the moment. About 4 stones thinner than that look. Sequins and crowns and looking majestic. If you want to do that, do that. But only do it if that's the sort of person you are. If you're a person, and I happen to like that. If you're a more mature person who wants to wear a white dress, then wear a white dress.
Yeah.
You don't have to be achingly cool in Shoreditch to wear a white dress as an older person. You can do it in Weymouth.
Yeah. I love that line. In Weymouth.
I don't know where that came from, but I was just.
I like it. We like that.
Getting back to that shoot thing, isn't it? Yeah.
Do you think your age has helped you with that attitude? Do you think you would have felt more pressure to, even though you've had a lot of objections and you found it quite stressful, it sounds like you've still stuck to what you want to do. Do you think that comes with a little bit of age and life experience?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I couldn't have done this in my 20s and 30s. That's the confidence. That gets back to the ceremony. That is the confidence. I didn't have the confidence to be me until I met Mark. I've always been quite out there, and partied hard, and lived well. But I had no confidence in myself. My confidence has exploded, and he has supported me in everything I've done. So yeah, my age has helped, but I'm quite stubborn. My background's design anyhow, so a lot of the decisions I was making, I was kind of stubborn about them. But I still fought it, and I'm a strong person. Like I said to you, I ended up crying yesterday because I was saying I don't want table plans.
Crying over
I don't want table plans, and I was thinking, this is ridiculous. I run my own business, and I can't articulate this.
Table plans are a thorny issue, though. My was appalled because we didn't have table plans for our wedding, and we just said to people, "Just sit where you like." And she was absolutely beside herself. What do you mean, sit where I like? You're a grown woman. You can decide where you sit, Grandma. So yeah, table.
That's one benefit. I don't have any grandparents left. Sounds awful.
Cut that bit out, Ross. Yeah.
Cut that out.
So in a year's time, Juliette, when you look back at your wedding day and you're having some of those fantastic guests around for a dinner party, what are you hoping their favourite moment of your wedding day is, or those sort of like rosy memories of your wedding day will be?
Oh, I just want them to look back and say it was the best one they'd ever been to.
Of course.
That's me. I want them to, okay, I'll be very honest here. I do want people to realise what the ceremony means. Because even being a celebrant, a lot of people still don't know what a ceremony is. A celebrant does. But I want our friends to sit down and say, we were right. We knew you were right for each other from the beginning.
Oh, wow.
That's really lovely.
And I also want them to I also want them to not be able to, a lot of people said that, oh, you look right together from about the second month. So that was strange.
Yeah.
And I want them to be talking about it as such a vibrant, bright party.
Yeah. Yeah. Reflect who you are. Definitely reflect who you are. Yeah.
That's what I'm hoping for.
Is there a way that you've worked at as a celebrant that really stands out for having those qualities?
Oh, yes. I always cry. I don't want anyone to cry. It's ridiculous. Yes, there is. And I like it. I've worked at a wedding where we've done I don't do rituals as such ever, actually, but I do like ring warming. And I always get very emotional. Right. Ring warming is when the wedding rings are
just for clarity, let's have an explanation.
You put them in a silk bag.
Okay.
Oh, cut that bit as well.
Oh, you get the. Should we just go to me saying anything which involves the audience? Audience there. God, that's shown me up. Hasn't he? Cut that bit as well, please. It's all about me. I'm the celebrant. I am performing. And you're all just there.
But they are there to watch. They're there to watch that union. So, yeah.
Last wedding I did, the photographer came up and said, "Are you in politics?" I was like, "Oh, jeez." Oh, God, Ross. I like it. Yeah, yes. Any of the ceremonies I've done where, and this is what we're hoping for, where the guests can be involved in some way.
Okay.
Whether it's music, we want our guests, because we're getting married in an old theatre, and we'll be in the auditorium, and we've got.
So actually, they will be in the audience. To be fair to you.
Yeah, to be fair to me, they will be, but all my guests are in the audience. And we want them all to stand up and dance along to some of the music we're putting on at certain points in the ceremony.
Yeah.
Which is what I've done at a wedding before. Incidentally, the celebrant for our wedding is Mark's first wife.
Okay, that's interesting.
As a lot of people say, quote unquote, my mother, well, that's modern. Yeah, she left she was very successful in the NHS and left, and a lot of celebrants do come from a healthcare background. I didn't. And we were all together at one point. It's the mother of Mark's two eldest boys. And she said, can I do it? Can I do it? I want the experience sort of thing. And we, yeah, why not? And then everyone went, Mark wakes up occasionally, goes, what if she says something, about what? And I no, don't worry about it.
Well, that is modern, Juliette. Very modern. Very modern.
I have both ex-wives coming. Actually, both of Mark's ex-wives will be at the wedding. So that, in all seriousness, though, that kind of ties into the way we are as a couple and being older. We're not full of all that angst, and Mark's got beyond that whole childcare stuff, and we're just all mature enough, to use a word we've used before, to know that we get on as people.
Yeah. And that's a good thing, and you do surround yourself. We say that you surround yourself with friends and family, and they're family, aren't they?
They're family.
So
yeah. So watch this space. I'll let you know about it afterwards.
Wonderful.
Have I answered what you want? I feel I've talked more about. I don't know if I've got across anything you need.
No, you've been amazing. You've just been honest, and all we wanted was honesty. Really.
I can be honest. I could have gone on a roll actually about certain things, mainly outfits.
The challenge is real, and that's why we wanted to talk to you. The whole premise of this series has been, we want to talk to people who are planning weddings and are finding, for whatever reason, because of their choice of partner, because of their age, because of their disability, finding that it's not as easy as they would hope. And we don't want people to be deflated during the planning process. It is supposed to be a joyous experience. And so, if by talking to people like you, Juliette, we get that across to wedding suppliers in particular, but also to couples that, be strong. Yeah,
that's exactly what I think. Be strong.
Yeah, absolutely. The onus shouldn't be on the individual to have to be strong, but unfortunately, through speaking to couples throughout this series so far, we have discovered that they have got to say, look, can you stop saying bride and groom?
I know, like this episode this week. Was it you? And it's like, the bridal suite, and I said it just at some point in this, and I was thinking, that's bloody ridiculous, and I don't do that. It's just it's so difficult. It's not difficult. It's not difficult in the slightest to get it right.
Yeah, it's just what people are used to.
Yeah, but we find that nobody's regretted speaking up or sticking to their guns, and I think that's the takeaway, isn't it? However hard and however much it shouldn't be the case, people will regret shifting elements of their wedding that they didn't want to change rather than sticking up for themselves. And I think that's the takeaway, isn't it, throughout all these episodes.
Yeah, very, very true. Very true. You do look back and regret, not saying, actually, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do it. You know, I've spoken to so many of my friends who've said, I only did that because that's what my mum and dad wanted me to do. Or, you know, I thought you were supposed to, so that's why I did it.
Supposed to is a very big thing.
Yeah.
I think you're supposed to. And I do feel a sense of responsibility because I'm a wedding supplier, to make sure that people know that, you know, it can be done your way. Not just the ceremony bit, which is what myself and my colleagues do, but everyone, the people, no matter who, where, what, why, you know, there are suppliers for you, and we should be more visible.
Yeah.
The suppliers as well, you know.
Yeah. Here to that.
Anyhow.
Juliette, thank you so much.
Yes,
that's okay. That's fine.
Honest and
I will share. I am enjoying very much what you're doing and telling lots of people about it. So and like I said at the beginning, it's educating me, even though I didn't need to be educated, she says smugly, but you always need to learn, you know. Made me think again. Made me think.
Always learning.
And we wish you a wonderful, wonderful wedding day. You have to come back on and tell us how it went as well.
I will. I will send you photos.
Yes, do. Please do. We love that.
I would love to have someone. I would love to have you photograph all of us dancing all night. You would have such a ball.
Thank you.
All right,
Thank you.
Cheerio. Bye.